want to share two articles with you today talking about vibe coding and a thesis or a theme I'm seeing in the zeitgeist where people are thinking, is vibe coding dying? Are we going from bust to boom or vice versa, from boom to bust? Is this the end of the hype cycle? And it's interesting. Not just this article, you would see something like this: is vibe coding dying? And people are sharing graphs. There are frustrations about it. And I'll go through this and give a little bit of my commentary and my opinionated take on what is happening. And this is coming from somebody who's built dozens and dozens of applications, some with thousands of users every single month, and some as crickets with no one using. And I think I've learned a thing or two about vibe coding, which is what I'm going to share with us here today. Let's start actually with this particular article. I will leave a link to all of this in the description. So in here, it shows this graph, and this graph is illuminating if you take a look at it. From September 2024, we saw this meteoric rise in the awareness and adoption of vibe coding applications. So we're talking about Bold, we're talking about Lovable, we're talking about Base 44. You essentially can come in and prompt, all the way to Gemini AI Studio, where you can come in and prompt. And even GitHub is jumping in on the bandwagon, being able to come in with GitHub Spark and prompt. So there are so many, it's innumerable for me to list all the vibe coding applications. But back in 2024, this graph was like going to the moon, to the moon. I was a big part of that race. And actually, a lot of my applications were built very early on in this hype cycle. And here, let's pick one, the darker blue, and this would be your Lovable. You can see how Lovable just literally blew up. I remember like Lovable just blew up. Let's see, Bold is not as popular. My personal favorite is also in there. It did blow up somewhere around the summer months, and we were seeing this blow up. But now take a look at this, right? You see this dip right here? This is Lovable, I believe, if I'm looking at the colors correctly. This is a cliff. This is a fall. Now, is it because seasons are changing and people's habit change and we should see some seasonality across 2 or 3 years to tell? Or is there something more to this? And that's the question we're asking, right? This is the question we all should be asking. And coming here, you can see the same chart. The numbers don't look good. Let's take a look. Base 44 is a little bit growing. But then if you take a look at Replit 2 was very popular. I think the CEO is talks quite a bit. There was a big plateau and Lovable just really crashed, right? The charts do not lie, and we can go on and on. So is vibe coding dying? Let me actually go over to this and read just a frustration from this Reddit user who says, I am giving up. Okay, I wouldn't read all of this, but it essentially says, I just want to say I am giving up on creating anything anymore. And that's the beginning. But here is where it gets interesting. So I don't have energy anymore in me to work on this. It is hopeless. AI is still just so stupid, and it will fix one thing but destroy 10 other things in your code. And this is really the main thrust of this frustrations from users who are new to this. And I could totally empathize and relate to folks who find it frustrating to develop with AI. But I think there are also lessons that you can learn from it. I don't think this is a matter of going to the extremes of saying AI is completely incapable and completely useless. And I don't think too is on the other extreme to say AI can do everything and is infallible. I think the truth and the optimal result is somewhere in the middle. And that's what I've come to subscribe to, the middle option. So the big takeaway from me, and I'll leave these articles for those who want to read, is people who approach AI from a monolithic mindset, like trying to say, I will use AI to build the next Facebook. That is too ambitious. If I simply come in and say, build me the next Facebook, you could, right? Because Facebook is made up of different areas, different services, different things. There is a chat experience, there is a connection experience, there is a friends, there is a follow, there is a recommendation. There are so many things that makes up an application like Facebook. And for people who want to build SaaS applications, they will just want to give all of that for AI to just go build me this, right? Let's actually try this. I don't think I have tokens left. But if I did, it will not work, right? You just cannot expect AI at this scale to work on such a complex project. What I found more relevant, and I'll bring it here, is this idea of micro applications. You really have to go down into the micro. And the reason why I'm showing this is to show one of my actually very popular application here, acquisitions.dev. Simple. It's so simple. Sometimes I'm like, this is like a high school, not even a high school, kids in grade school can do this, right? With basic HTML, they can take data and just show it up on the screen. But guess what? That's what people want. So this is about acquisitions, just finding companies that are being acquired and listing them by the date. And so you can see it for companies in the data analytics space. Nothing fancy, nothing creative. I'm not like reinventing something new here. It's just a very basic application. It took me 10 minutes of prompting. I got the application, I got it deployed, and it's available out there. If I go back and try to vibe code and prompt this to make changes, it's small enough where my changes will not, in one area will probably not break something in another area. And I wager to say this is how you want to think about using vibe coding. The world of building these complex applications, to me, is just it's too ambitious, and that's where people run into frustrations when using these tools. I have found effectiveness by finding and targeting the solutions, the applications. That's why I call it the micro SaaS. These are not SaaS applications, these are micro, and the micro is really emphasized. This is uppercase micro SaaS, right? So zero in on the micro SaaS applications, build that limited functionality, limited scope. You can zero in, deploy that. Okay, solve a specific problem. And that is the best use of SaaS application. People who are doing that are building and are getting the value out of it. But if you want to go down the path, and I know I'm out of credits here, of build me the next Facebook, or build me the next Amazon, or build me the next e-commerce platform, and the scope is vague, the ambition is too big, the requirements are vague and sparse, you're going to run into issues with vibe coding. And I'm pretty sure, without going into too much details, that this early adoption curve we saw, a little bit of the hockey stick here, we thought, is people who just got excited by being able to prompt with anything and see some promising results that got them to the 40% scale of their projects. That is this curve here. Now, once you've gotten to 40%, to get from 40 to 80 or 90% of your project, that's when the rubber hits the road and you really have to start decomposing your requirements, zeroing in on the architecture, having modular architecture. So changes in one area don't break things in another area. And for people who don't have that way of thinking and they don't come from an architecture mindset or a design perspective, these are the folks that would just crumble and give up. But for the folks that understand that you get the power by going micro, by segmenting, by decoupling your requirements, by having functions that don't depend on each other unnecessarily, AI is really good at building those micro pieces. And you can simply just deploy the micro, or you can then now come back at the end and couple the micro into a macro application to deploy that. But just trying to make AI do every single thing off the bat, to me, this is the end result of what we're seeing. I really think I'll get into trouble with this, but sometimes you have to be bold and put it out there. I would wager to say, if I were to draw this graph into the future, it will go up like this. It comes down, it will plateau, and then we're going to see back another pickup. That just the hype cycle is a very typical thing of the hype cycle, where it goes up, this initial barrier here, then we get into the dip. There is a book called The Dip, and that dip will be somewhere around here, 2026 or so, 2027. And then by 2028, 2029, 2030 or so, that we're going to be past the dip and things will just pick up and go from there. And that's my predictions, but it could be right, it could be wrong. But thought I'll share this with you guys. It's interesting. People are excited about vibe coding. People have built amazing applications, amazing companies with vibe coding applications. But then we also see people who are frustrated with it. I thought I'll share that with you guys. What are your thoughts? Do you still vibe code? Have you given up on vibe coding? What is your opinion? I really want to hear. I'm a big fan, and I will continue for as long as it's possible vibe coding and building applications. So many applications. Some are public, some are not, some are archived. But we're going to keep building those applications and sharing it with you guys. As always, if you like this, give it a thumbs up. Share this with somebody that might get value out of it. As always, this is Fru here with Demo Hub. Thank you for watching and sticking to the end. I will see you in the next demo.